Apple just announced an update that is huge, but it has the Apple community divided. I mean, people have been asking for this update for a very, very long time, pretty much since the release of the iPad Pro back in 2015, and it's finally been released. But the question is, will people actually use Final Cut Pro on an iPad? I think Apple has a huge problem on their hands, and we'll get into that in just a second. Now understand this, I've been a Final Cut Pro user for years, and I've recently switched to DaVinci Resolve. It's just a better workflow for me, but I know Final Cut through and through, and it's by far the fastest way that you can cut through footage. I mean, it pretty much never stutters, and like most Apple products, it always just works. Now understand this, I've been a Final Cut Pro user for years, and so recently I switched to DaVinci Resolve, and it's just a better workflow for me, but I know Final Cut through and through, and it is by far the fastest way that you can cut through footage. And what's cool about it is it pretty much never stutters, and like most Apple products, it just works. But Apple's come under a lot of scrutiny recently from the creative community because DaVinci and Premiere, they both get these regular improvement updates and these updates that have huge features for content creators. Meanwhile, Final Cut Pro almost never gets an update, and so the creative community largely has abandoned Final Cut Pro because it really does feel like Apple's abandoned Final Cut, which is why this release is such a huge deal. It proves that Apple has not thrown in the towel on Final Cut and that they're still working, though not that much, they're still working to improve it, but there is still a few huge problems. First one is this, Final Cut has Pro in the name, and iPad Pro has Pro in the name. These are meant to be used by professionals, and I can't see any real-life professional using Final Cut Pro on an iPad. As creative professionals, we just have different needs. We need to have a lot more horsepower. We need to have screen real estate. We need to be able to move from app to app, and when you're on an iPad, that's just not happening. Before we get into the next problem, go ahead and drop a like. Let me know that you're enjoying the video. And if you do like videos like this, go ahead, sub to the channel. This is a brand new channel, so it helps out so much when we get new subs. Let's get back into the next problem. The next problem is this. You need an iPad Pro with at least an M1 chip. Now that's a lot of money. And if someone's planning on getting one of these to start video editing, say it's on a YouTube channel or for social media, they would be so much better off spending that extra $200 and just going with the MacBook Air, or actually saving $100 and going with a Mac Mini. Yeah, you'd still need a monitor, a mouse, and a keyboard, but people can find those things at a pawn shop for like 50 bucks. And then once you start making money from those things, you can upgrade your peripherals as you go. Now those computers, the cool thing about them is they'll last 4 to 6 years, so this is not some kind of short-sighted investment, it's actually a long-term investment. So instead of being limited in all the ways that an iPad limits you, you should just go out and buy a full-blown computer, especially if you're in a creative professional workflow. Let me know in the comments down below, guys, if you would rather have an iPad, which is more portable, or a full-blown computer that you can do all your work on. Now they also announced that Logic is coming to an iPad, and that's a pretty big deal. I'm a professional musician, and I have some thoughts about this of is this actually a good idea? So go ahead in the comments below, tell me, would you like a video on my thoughts on Logic on the iPad? Now I'll be the first to say that the iPad Pro is a really incredible device. I had one for a long time. I switched it out actually for the iPad Mini. I just like the Mini a lot more. I use it to read all the time, all that stuff. But the iPad Pro is really impressive. It's just so much money. If you get the iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil with the Magic Keyboard, you're looking at pretty much the same exact amount of money as you would a MacBook Air. So if you are in the market for a new computer, you should go watch this video right here, which is my long-term review of the MacBook Air, or you could also check out this other video, which is my long-term review of the Mac Mini. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.